Well, good morning, good afternoon, depending on where you're at. Okay, mic check, 1 2 1 2. Let me know if you can hear me. Okay, I see. Yes, y'all can. Okay, good. All right. First of all, I pinned at the top of the chat. If you're on the trending at some point side, I pinned my legal at some point channel link because if you are here this morning, it's one of two things. You either you and or because it could be both. You just like the sound of my voice, and you's gonna be here either way, and I really appreciate y'all, and I thank you. Or you like legal content because all this is about Diddy right now. So that means I definitely am asking you, if you are hearing this and you clicked on this, please subscribe to Legal at some point because I know what you're here for. And that means we need to be together on the legal side too. So I thank y'all very, very much. Look, I'm here because you're my friend. Hey, friend. Okay. We're gonna go ahead and get started. This is a true lunch break live, not a whole lunch break hour, just a lunch break in general. So Diddy's attorneys yesterday did write a letter to the judge asking could the witnesses and attorneys please, you know, not talk to the press. So I'm gonna read you the letter, okay? So this is what they wrote. They said, "Dear Judge, we write on behalf of our client, Sean Combs, pursuant to Local Rule 23.1 and the Fifth and Sixth Amendments, to request an order prohibiting further extrajudicial statements from prospective witnesses and their lawyers that substantially interfere with Mr. Combs' right to a fair trial. Mr. Combs has a constitutional right to a fair trial, free from the influence of prejudicial statements in the press. See Shepard versus Maxwell. Holding that courts' failure to alleviate issues of trial publicity by imposing control over the statements made to the news media statements made to the news media by counsel, witnesses, and especially the police officers denied defendant his Sixth Amendment right to a fair trial. See also Bridges v. California. Legal trials are not like elections to be won through the use of the meeting hall, the radio, and the newspaper. Patterson v. Colorado. The theory of our system is that the conclusions to be reached in a case will be induced only by evidence and argument in open court and not by any outside influence, whether of private talk or public print. United States v. Brown. There can be no question that a criminal defendant's right to a fair trial may not be compromised by commentary from any lawyer or party offered up for media consumption on the courthouse steps. To avoid, oh Lord, I'm just making up stuff. To protect a defendant's constitutional rights, courts have an independent obligation to avoid the creation of a carnival atmosphere in high-profile cases. United States v. Smith. In Reed, Dow Jones and Company, the Second Circuit held that a gag order on trial participants is justified if a district court finds that pretrial publicity posed such a threat to defendants' Sixth Amendment rights as to justify the restraining order, and that no other available remedies would effectively mitigate any prejudicial publicity. In high-profile cases, there is a particularly high risk of prejudice. See Smith. The risk of prejudice to the fair administration of justice from a public relations battle is heightened in high-profile cases. United States v. Bulger, courts have found that heightened media scrutiny supports the conclusion that attorneys and parties should not make extrajudicial statements. And in cases that receive far less press attention than this one, courts exercise their discretion to impose gag orders on participants. Upholding gag order retraining extrajudicial speech by trial participants in public corruption case. Affirming gag order on parties, lawyers, and potential witnesses, preventing them from making any extrajudicial, I'm just not going to say the word right today, statement or interview, and otherwise interfering with the trial and prosecution of state politician. In addition, Local Rule 23.1 independently applies to lawyers for witnesses in the government's investigation. With respect to a grand jury or other pending investigation of any criminal matter, a lawyer participating in or associated with the investigation, including government lawyers and lawyers for targets, subjects, and witnesses in the investigation, shall refrain from making any extrajudicial statement. Presumptively, prejudicial statements include statements related to the character or reputation of the accused, the credibility of prospective witnesses, information the lawyer or law firm knows is likely to be inadmissible at trial and would, if disclosed, create a substantial likelihood of prejudicing an impartial trial, and any opinion as to the accused's guilt or innocence or as to the merits of the case or the evidence in the case. Local Rule 23.1 also empowers this court to issue a special order governing such matters as extrajudicial statements by parties and witnesses likely to interfere with the rights of the accused to a fair trial by an impartial jury, if there are no other remedies available. As the court is aware, Mr. Combs has been the target of an unending stream of allegations by prospective witnesses and their counsel in the press. These prospective witnesses and their lawyers have made numerous inflammatory extrajudicial statements aimed at assassinating Mr. Combs' character in the press. I'm skipping over some of their... Oh, well, let me just say it. It says, so Gil Kaufman, it says, Diddy's accusers speak out for first time in wake of sexual misconduct allegations. This guy got no soul. Billboard, hold on, I gotta skip over the address. Billboard reporting on accusers calling Mr. Combs sick and a monster with no soul and his behavior disgusting. Diddy indictment imminent, alleged sex trafficking victims attorney claims, TMZ. Lawyer for accuser stating Mr. Combs is not remorseful for any of his actions and thinks he's invincible. Bruce Herring, Sean Diddy Combs apologizes for hotel attack on girlfriend. Deadline. Mark Ellibert, victim one's lawyer, released a statement on Diddy's pathetic apology. No one will be swayed by his disingenuous words. Complex. Okay, let's see. Going down. It says, lawyer for victim one commenting on his pathetic desperation and disingenuous words. Witnesses' lawyers have also vouched for the credibility and character of their clients and opined on the potential evidence. See example, victim one's attorney outraged at river rafting, jet photos, lawyer sends ominous message, TMZ. Lawyer describing accusers as individuals with limited resources fighting for justice after being marginalized, abused, and exploited by a billionaire, commenting on all the atrocities he has caused and has been accused of by countless individuals over decades. The Adult Survivors Act, why so many sexual assault lawsuits have been filed under New York law. That was USA Today. It says, lawyer for victim one asserting that she has evidence and support and a story that resonates as being truthful, that the public is very receptive to holding people accountable for their heinous acts. Michelle Homer, Tony Busby says 25 of the 120 men and women he's representing in Diddy's lawsuits were minors when they were allegedly assaulted. Lawyers claiming to have vetted each claim with former law enforcement officers and possess corroborating evidence. Nancy Dillon, Sean Combs accused of sexually abusing 120 people, including 25 minors, Rolling Stone. Lawyer for accuser stating each individual story is gut-wrenching and heartbreaking and can only be described as debauchery and depravity exacted by powerful people against minors and the weak. Diddy accuser's lawyer Combs used oil knife, News Nation. Accuser's lawyer describing the deplorable way her client was victimized and her harrowing escape from gruesome attack. Michelle Fisher, exclusive attorney Gloria Allred, shares new details on Diddy's lawsuits' impact on alleged victims. ABC 7. Accuser's lawyer opining that it's really all about power and abuse of power, and accuser stating the trauma of the assault has taken a toll on my mental health. Several of these lawyers have made shockingly prejudicial and false allegations of sexual assault and abuse of minors, the details of which need not be repeated. It says, see example, Sean Diddy Combs will face 120 accusers for alleged sexual misconduct, attorney says. That was CBS News. Reporting on accusers' lawyers' press conference, including lawyers' descriptions of violent sexual acts and sexual assaults of minors. Diana Dasrath et al. Sean Diddy Combs accused of gang RAPE and sex trafficking in new lawsuit, NBC News. Quoting accuser's lawyer on details of alleged sexual assault that involved preying on a vulnerable high school teenager. The depravity of these abhorrent acts has not surprisingly scarred our client for life. That was the quote. Some have even peddled in outlandish conspiracy theories. See example Tom Sykes, Diddy spiked baby oil with date RAPE drug, accuser's lawyer, Daily Beast. Accuser's lawyer claiming that based on her research, baby oil could be used as a conduit for date RAPE drugs such as GHB or Rohypnol. What's more, these lawyers have done the government's work for them, repeatedly vouching for the government and commenting on the strength of the government's case. Diddy indictment imminent, alleged sex trafficking victims' attorney claims. Accuser's lawyer opining that Mr. Combs knows what's coming down. He knows it's only a matter of time. The clock is ticking. The walls are closing in, and sooner or later he will be behind bars. Chloe Malas, Sean Diddy Combs arrested by federal agents in New York. NBC News. Lawyer for accusers commenting on Mr. Combs' arrest, stating, "We knew this was coming. The evidence is very clear, and it was only a matter of time." Sean Diddy Combs to remain in custody after judge denies bail appeal in racketeering, conspiracy, and sex trafficking case. That was on CNN. Accuser's lawyer commenting on strength of government's evidence in support of motion for detention. These lawyers are, by their own admission, in communication with the government about their clients acting as potential witnesses. Record label seeks sanctions for claim they aided Combs. That was on Law 360. It says lawyer stating that he is going to be at the assistant U.S. attorneys for a 10th time, and that his client supplied key evidence to the assistant U.S. attorneys for the Southern District of New York. Diddy indictment imminent, alleged sex trafficking victims attorney claims, TMZ. Accuser's lawyer claiming intimate knowledge of federal investigation, suggesting that her client was not the first, the second, the seventh, or the ninth person meeting with the government, and that there is a finish line to the government's investigation that we kind of came in at the end of. Diddy lawsuit, Busby Law Firm says cases go back to 1991. Youngest victim was 9. Fox 26. Lawyer for accuser stating that some of his clients have already spoken to the government and that others would be made available to the government shortly. As counsel for witnesses in this case, these lawyers are prohibited from making statements under Local Rule 23.1. Moreover, because these statements undoubtedly threaten Mr. Combs' right to a fair trial and no other remedies exist, this court should exercise its discretion in issuing an order requiring all potential witnesses and their counsel to refrain from making extrajudicial statements that have a substantial likelihood to interfere with Mr. Combs' trial or otherwise prejudice the due administration of justice. We further request that the court direct these potential witnesses and their counsel to remove all online postings under their control that would offend the local rule. See United States versus Perryman. Granting requests to direct police department to remove certain comments posted to its website. In addition to the extent the government has directed or authorized such extrajudicial statements contrary to its own obligations to ensure a fair trial, we request that the court direct the government to disclose such communications. See Brady versus Maryland. Society wins not only when the guilty are convicted, but when criminal trials are fair. Our system of the administration of justice suffers when any accused is treated unfairly. Finally, this request is time sensitive. Each day that passes brings a fresh wave of publicity, often at the direction of accusers and their counsel, further prejudicing Mr. Combs' right to a fair trial. Therefore, we respectfully request that any response be filed on October 30th, 2024. And that's his attorney that signed it. So I need this trial to go however it needs to go properly so he can stay behind bars. That's my opinion. So if there's any merit to it violating the Sixth Amendment or whatever amendment or whatever, fine. Please, attorneys and witnesses, only talk to the officers of the court or whoever you're supposed to talk to so this trial can go how it's supposed to go, because obviously my opinion is definitely, I mean, we saw some of it, but he my opinion is he did most of the things he's accused of. And so I just need this to not be gone because of a technicality is what I'll say. So that's my opinion. Diddy's just a disgusting human being. I did want to tell my YSL trial people that I did go ahead and skip ahead just so I could see it. And Judge Paige Reese Whitaker on the YSL trial, she told the state she would not reverse her ruling. And Dennis's testimony from October 17th, his exhibits that were introduced through him, they're gone. They're out. They're not coming back. The state tried to come and argue for it. A defense attorney I wasn't familiar with came up to argue, of course, against overturning her ruling. Still held the bulk of the responsibility, apparently, to also argue her upholding her ruling. She said that she actually had, it's very possible that Dennis was retaliating by making that statement on Yak Gotti, Diamante Kendrick, because they were challenging his expertise on rap lyrics. So I am so glad she is not reversing that sanction that she put on there. So we should not see Dennis anymore on this trial. So yeah, Missy Barstar said, if I was on the jury, for me, guilty. I know. I don't need the press. Anything new in the press, don't care. If I was on the jury, tell you what, I already know. I'm not on the jury, so it is what it is. But yeah, okay. And if you are here again, I just ask, and if you watch this in the replay, gang, please subscribe to Legal at some point, because we do all legal stuff over there. So I would love to have you over on that side. All right, y'all. That will be it for now. I will see my Legal at Some Point people at probably 5:00 this evening, so we can look at the recap for what happened on Friday. So I will see y'all soon. Thank you for stopping by. I appreciate you. All right. Bye.